Hey, Ronnie Dale, Four Wheeling Australia. Can you use a handheld radio in replacement to your fixed mounted radio as an option? I've used this for 7,000 kilometers when my Hilux was semi-stock. Now it's starting to get a bit modified and I've actually put a radio in it. We've also done 2 full days of testing, one off-road, one on-road. We've cut out all the stuff you don't need to see and we put in all the important bits so you can see how actually complex it is to use one of these inside your vehicle, because depending on how you use it will depend on what you're going to get out of it. And is it good enough? Stay tuned and you'll find out, because we have 5 watts all the way down to 0.5 watts. Alright guys, so you understand how we are actually measuring the strength of these handheld radios to the base station. I have since installed my own fixed mounted radio in my Hilux. This is the exact same one that Torben was using on the day, measuring the strength from these radios to the fixed mounted radio. Up in the top corner here, you'll see a 0. Now if I press this radio here, I'm right next to it, it said 9+, which means that is the highest possible strength it can get from another 5 watt radio. That number from 0 to 9 is what we are calculating and using to measure the strength that these radios are providing back to the base station. But we're also going to take in the fact the static, is it readable, and how much it drops out, how scratchy it is.
That is unreadable. I repeat, that is unreadable.
So all those things are taken into account. Now you understand how we're measuring it, let's get into it. I've got a whole bunch of radios in my hand here. Only one of them's turned on, so we're going to wait till the 0.5 cuts out. And then we go down the line, 1, 2, 3, 5. There is no 4 watt. All right, let's just pile all these up. Where the hell am I going to put these? I'll put them all in here. Let's just keep 1 and the 5. All right, Torbs, I'm ready. I'm going ahead now. Can you hear me all right?
Copy that.
Okay. That was good, because we're only like 100 meters away. 0.5 watt, what am I coming through as?
Average 7.
Okay, still casting out of the Faraday cage, and we've done 1 kilometer. Sorry.
Copy that. And when you drop down the hole, you dropped about 4 notches.
Did you hear my last 2 calls?
I've lost you on my handheld. I've had to switch to my in-car.
Okay, what am I on your in-car?
You are a 5 now.
Okay, that means handheld to handheld, you drop out way quicker, which is expected.
Handheld to handheld. Signal wasn't too flash, dropped out well before half. Not the best, but when we went from fixed vehicle to handheld, I was really surprised how far we actually got. So that wasn't a bad setup. Good distance, but yeah, handheld to handheld, not so great.
What about now?
A 3 and clear.
What about now?
1 and a little bit of static.
Okay, so where you hold your radio inside your car now has an effect at this range.
Oh, okay. Yep, you were a 2 then with quite a bit of interference.
Okay, that was the same radio the whole time.
That was unreadable.
Interesting. What about now?
Nothing coming through but static.
0.5 is out. Blocking the signal, the vehicle itself. Glass doesn't seem to block the signal at all. It seems to, give you a good direction for the signal to actually escape the vehicle. 5 watt radio.
2 but clearer.
5 watt radio again.
3 and clearer.
Just out of curiosity. 5 watt radio again.
5 and getting clearer.
That's interesting, isn't it? my Hilux, for instance, or most stock vehicles, you can see through the back window and there's lots of glass. There's not much blocking your signal at all. So in a vehicle like this, radios work pretty good, the handheld ones. But it's a different story when it comes to, say, a ute with something on the back of it.
In my case, yeah, I've got some glass, but from the back, it's just an aluminum box, headboard, canopy full of all sorts of junk. Goes to the tyres, rubbish bags, the signal's just not going to penetrate through all that. So handheld inside a block of aluminum ain't going to work.
Radio check. No. 2's out.
What I find amazing with these handhelds is the signal strength can drop and you can still hear them, and then in other cases the signal strength is quite strong. It's a 4 and a 5 and you can hear them clearly, but they drop out in a couple of words in and then come back on. So it's very interesting how that seems to be working out. The last message, I think they were out about 3 kilometres, but they don't seem to. Oh, they're trying to get through.
3's out. I'm down to the last radio. I'm gonna go a bit further. Do you copy?
Copy that. Clear 2.
We are at 3.5 kilometres away. Now, if I hold this radio here, he's not going to hear me. Radio check, Torbs. But this is a 0.5 watt. If I hold it here, he's going to hear me. And now it goes through the glass. Torbs, you got a radio check?
Exactly 1.
Okay. So this one is pretty much rendered useless because when you're talking, you're not going like this as you're talking. You're going like this. So 0.5 watt is out, and we have line of sight now too, more or less, because we're going back uphill. This is the 1 watt. Let's try the same thing. Radio check.
Coming through as a 2 now.
Radio check.
2 and clear.
Radio check.
Clear and 2.
Radio check.
Clear and 3.
The signal would go in and out. It'll go weak to strong, all in the same conversation on whatever radio he was using. So I'll be interested to find out when he gets back if he was holding the two handheld in a different position where the aerial was closer to the window or the roof. I don't know if the roof made it easier for it to cast a signal.
Radio check.
Clear and 3.
Radio check.
4.
Radio check.
Clear for landing on lane 5.
Are you getting 5 there?
Yep.
What are you getting here?
3.
And here?
4.
And here?
5.
Okay, there you go. At this distance, the 3 and 5 watt are still going, but you can tell the 5 is better than the 3. So it does make a difference. And it's only when you get a distance, it really shows. That was only half the test off-road. When we went on-road, things changed rapidly. The environment changes rapidly because you're driving at a faster speed. So these become very unreliable. Were you impressed how they went off-road? Tell me down below in the comments. But check out what happens now when we have them on-road with a lot of trees around. Torbs is down here. Here's the base station. I'll again be the mobile units, testing out from 0.5 all the way up to 5. This is real world environment, up and down hill, round corners, big trees. Now we have done a few little tests beforehand. Once there's a whole heap of trees about, it cuts out signal on all radios. If there's big trees, you can't rely on these. I'm expecting to drop out real soon because all these trees, but we're going to head uphill at some stage. I should pick you up again.
Copy that and standing by.
What are you getting? It's on and off, this one. I'll turn that one off. Radio check, radio check.
That's coming through as a clear 2.
You couldn't hear me just before? Roger. Okay. Radio check.
Clear 4.
There's a spot up ahead we can pull up on the hill. We'll try them from there. Still seated in the car. And then I want to show you something. I want to get out of the vehicle, stand on the roof rack, and then we can see the difference. And I reckon the lower end radios will probably pick him back up again. But the main thing is we're driving. Can you hear us? That's the thing. Radio check, radio check. Radio check.
Yeah, picking you up now.
I'm at the top of a hill, which would explain that, so I'm actually casting over all those trees. Radio 1 check.
Readable 2.
Okay, so 5 watts of readable 2. Radio check. Radio check. Radio check.
Readable 2.
Interesting. It's really affecting this one now. Let's try this 5 again, just to make sure. I'll try here first. Radio check.
Clear 4.
Radio check. Radio check.
Clear but quiet 4.
Interesting, hey? This cage is blocking us. Let's go back to the 0.5er. And I'll hold it right up to the window. Radio check.
Oh, a really, really bad 1.
As expected. 1 watt radio. Radio check.
A quiet 3 but readable.
It's almost as you expected. There's no surprise here. The way it's increasing and dropping depending on what watts you use. But let's show you what happens when I stand on the roof or even outside the vehicle. 0.5 watt. Do you copy, Torbs? Do you copy?
Yep, got you. Crackly 2, but it's readable.
Crackly 2, 0.5er. Do you copy? Do you copy?
Yeah, copy. That was a strong 3.
Strong 3. 2 watt. Radio check. Can I have a radio check, please?
Yeah, you're coming through at a strong 4. Nice strong 4.
As expected. Radio check.
That one's a nice crystal clear 5. It's a little bit quiet, but it is crystal clear.
Okay. Radio check.
Nice and clear, hovering between a 4 and a 5.
All right. Do you want to drive up the road and catch up with us then?
Copy that.
There you go. That was the on-road bit done now. We're now going to some final words with me and Torbs and some final advice when it comes to handheld radios. But I would like to know right now, has this changed your mind or your view on handheld radios? Were you going to do this and you've changed your mind now? Let me know in the comments below. Let's go to the final conclusion. We're going to start from the 5 watt and work our way down. I think that a 5 watt you can get away with if you can't afford a vehicle mounted radio.
Yeah, I agree with that too. If it's in my vehicle, I would have to be at the back of the pack. Otherwise it won't go through the canopy.
Very true, very true. Moving down to a 3 watter. These are actually hard to come by now. I'm pretty sure that these guys, GME, don't even make these anymore. I don't really know anyone else who would make a 3 watter, but if you can get your hands on one, they're actually, I think they're pretty close to the 5.
Yeah, they're not bad. They held in pretty good.
It seemed to be better than a 2 anyway. And speaking of the 2, I would say if someone gave you one of these as a hand-me-down,
As a freebie, yeah.
or a gift or something, yeah, make do with it. But
Stick it in your glove box, make a good spotty.
make a good spare one too. Yeah. Look, a 2 watt actually surprised me how well it did.
Yeah.
It actually did. Whereas we moved to these two, you can...
These two, honestly, buy them for the kids as a Christmas present. They're great for them messing around. That is just my opinion.
They'll be good camp radios.
Yeah, good camp radios. Kids can take it when they go off to the loo or whatever. So keep in contact.
I guess the other thing we could point out is if kids lose one of these ones, a 0.5 or a 1 watt, definitely under $100 you're losing here.
It's only a tear or two, not a kidney.
When we get up into this range, that's when you're starting to pay some bucks.
My final advice is, if you're going to get a handheld and use it as your radio in there, get a remote mic. I would actually use a handheld with an attached mic like this one. It has a speaker built into the mic as well, so when it's up close to you, you can hear it even better. And what that means is you can have your hands on the steering wheel. You don't have to fumble to find your mic. You just talk. That's it. You can put it up higher, get a little bit better signal, but this is clipped on right here, so it's just easy talk.
My final advice is, if you see a deal on for 2 radios, maybe go halves with a mate.
That's a good idea.
Then you got one each. Just make sure that that box that it comes with has 2 separate chargers. Otherwise, one of you guys is going to end up with a double charger. Torbs is charging one now, so I can't charge mine right now. You also need to make a facility for charging your batteries in the front of your vehicle if you want to use this as your sole radio. So it's something you need to be aware of. In my case, in the Hilux, I can because I have a built-in inverter, so I've actually got a charger in my glove box. Tick all those boxes and you'll be right. And look, honestly, I'm going to add a bit more advice here.
Yeah.
Just save up for a proper radio. But look, if you start with one of these, it's not going to be obsolete when you...
That's right. It's going to be perfect later on, spotting all sorts of stuff.
Your glove box radio.
Yep.
Your mate jumps out, spots you.
If you snap the aerial on your car, you've still got a backup radio.
Aha. I didn't even think of that. You still got a backup radio.
Yep.
What do you guys think? Would you persevere with your handheld radio, or would you just go straight to a mounted radio? And the reason why I asked you that question is because there is a video coming up in just a few days' time about which radio would suit your needs. Radio, antenna combo, antenna size, everything for every situation. Stay tuned for that one. Thanks for watching.